Welcome to the Propreneur Podcast, where we help practice owners become better entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Dino Watt. Welcome once again, everybody, to the Propreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dino Watt. Excited to have you here again to learn more about how you can be proactive, productive, and profitable inside all areas of your life. And today, we're going to show you exactly how to do that with our guests, Tracy Martin and Scott Caldwell, who are going to share with us some really cool insights on exactly how you can run your practice. And by the way, we have practice owners from all different types of industries, whether it be ortho or dental or chiropractic, or I don't know, do we have any podiatrists? I don't know. But we have people from all over, practice owners, that everything you're going to hear today is going to be insights and news to you so that you can actually grow your practice in a better, smarter, faster way. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Please give everybody a quick introduction on who you are, what you do, how you fell in love with this thing that you do. Hopefully you're in love with it, to actually share it with the world.
Oh, geez. Well, the way I fell in love with it, well, by the way, I'm Tracy Martin. I run Straight Consulting. It's a company that I started about 5 years ago, but for the 15 years before that, I worked in orthodontics, and I've held every role in an orthodontic practice, starting from sterilization tech up to, practice consultant, and then founder of my own consulting company. So I've been in the trenches, and I think that's why people like me.
So valuable.
It is.
Yeah, it's so valuable, right? To be able to say, look, I can't speak to that. And there's a ton of people who can't speak to that. And there's some people who, I was really good about answering the phones. And so now I'm a consultant. That you can talk to everything is awesome.
It's been super helpful. So that's where I get my black belt, Dino. That's my black belt. I have a black belt in orthodontics. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. We should have we're going to do a big Kong sound effect and like a Bruce, like, Wah!
We'll add that in post.
So it's been a wild ride, but it's wonderful because I can go into these practices and I can really say, hey, this is how long it takes to do this specific project or this role and responsibility. This is what your time management should look like because I've done it. And I ask you to do something that I can't do myself. I'm still an RDA. I love what I do. I found my niche as a treatment coordinator, so I really fell into sales. Never thought that's where I'd go with it, but yeah, I've been in ortho since I was 18 years old, and I'm in love with it. Scott's here with me. You can explain your background.
Yeah.
Go for it, Scott.
Yeah, my name is Scott Caldwell. I'm a creative director, also one of the consultants here at Straight Consulting, and I'm actually new to ortho. I cannot claim to have had 15 years of ortho experience, but I've had 20 plus years of sales and marketing experience. Started selling at Best Buy in the video game and CD department in high school, and sold Cutco knives in college, and I've been selling something in some capacity pretty much ever since. And so I crossed paths with Tracy and Straight Consulting about 2 years ago now, and really just hit it off, and so joined the team, and it's just been a blast because so much of what we believe about what it means to run a successful orthodontic practice today, and really any of these other practices you mentioned, whether you're a chiro or even the podiatrists out there, there has to be a sales element involved, and if you're not good at sales, and if you understand that there's a sales element to what you're doing, then you're going to get your lunch eaten. So
We're going to have to hashtag podiatrist love.
Yeah.
So here's a cool thing. I love that you have the two of you working together because, yes, Tracy, you have this, like you said, the black belt in the orthodontics, where with Scott, you have the fresh eyes. Mm-hmm. You have the outside the jar thinking. You have the ability to walk into a practice or walk into what Tracy's doing and say, so let me ask you a question about that. Like, why are you doing it that way? And that is so valuable.
So what you say when you say this, you really mean this.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun because I think it's sharpened our message as consultants because I can filter. She can explain it to me. I'm like, I'm a dummy who hasn't been 15 years in ortho. That we can kind of tease it out. And I'm an English major, and so communication's really been one of my strong suits. And so it's been fun to help kind of repackage and strengthen and clarify our message. But it's also great, like you said, going into a new practice. I'm like, I have that benefit of being an outside view that I'm not in ortho for 20 years and this is the way we've always done it, I can look at it with fresh eyes and kind of go, why are you doing it that way? This seems broken.
Yep. So true. Well, here's something that you both touched on that I thought was really important people to understand. I mention all the time how sales is the oxygen of your business, right? Without sales, I don't care how good you are at the thing that you do. You can be an amazing technician. You can be the best person in the world, create the best smiles, crack the best backs, whatever. Crack backs the best, I guess. And but if you don't have a sales system and process that is truly focused on sales, which, by the way, Tracy, not a lot of TCs see themselves as salespeople.
Absolutely.
So you both mentioned that. I think that's fascinating. Tell me a little bit more about that and your focus around the sales process.
Well, that's half of what we do right there is break the news. The secret is that you're really in sales.
So it's also like the doctor coming into the TC, you're like, I've got some bad news.
Right, exactly.
You're in sales.
Oh, you've been diagnosed with sales.
Bad news is it's terminal.
Yeah. So that's half the battle is explaining that. I love it when I still, to this day, I mean, even just 2 months ago, walking into an office of, no, I'm not in sales. I'm not a sales girl. I'm like, well, this might not be a good place for you then.
Yeah.
Let's figure something else out. And we've been running these TC mastery courses a couple times a year. We do 2 a year right now. And part of that training is, here's the big secret, is your job really is sales. So let's talk about how we can infuse your role with some real sales training and give them those scripts or tools or just really objectives and perspective that we have to kind of switch with them to start massaging just soft sales into it. People want to do business with their friends, so we try to really get into it. And it is not hard sales. It doesn't remotely look like you're going to a car salesman and negotiating something out. We'll negotiate, but it's what friends would do. It's in a casual environment.
I always find it funny that's our default, right? When we talk about sales, people's like, oh, well, I don't want to be a car salesman. Well, are you a pushy jerk in life? Like, are you a personality? Well, then why are you worried about being that? Like, you're not going to suddenly, just because you know about how to sales and sales tactics and how to overcome objections, how to actually transfer my enthusiasm to the other person. How is that now becoming a sleazy, slimy dude? Like, I don't get it.
Want you for a leisure suit right out of the gate.
Right, exactly. We're not measuring you to get you a new one, right? It's like, come on. And the power behind sales, I was just actually interviewing earlier today, Ben Fishbein, who has, Fishbein Orthodontics, right? And he's gone so far as to put his TCs as on commission, which as a salesperson, that's exactly, I don't know, when you were at Best Buy, were you on commission or were you on the non-commission side?
I was non-commissioned at the time, but I quickly learned, and that's what I got excited about getting into Cutco with, was the commission. I was like, you know what you eat. Yeah.
That's right. And you can eat a lot more if you're good at what you do, right? It's more abundant. You're not capped at a ceiling. So I used to work at Circuit City, where down the street was a Best Buy, and you are our competitors, I understand. But
you're a jet for life.
I know we killed the business, so what can you say? But we used to say that to people. They'd be like, "Oh, you're on commission." I'm like, That means I have to really make sure I know what the heck I'm talking about, that I can give you the right product so that you come back and buy from me again. There's a reason behind that, and it gives me a goal and a focus. I love it. So the fact that you're doing that, right? Scott, let me ask you, when you are helping people understand that sales mentality, what do you find is their biggest, besides the, I don't want to be a salesperson, what do you think is their biggest roadblock to becoming into the understanding that they are in sales, or to actually just say, yeah, I'm going to take this full on?
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's just bad stereotypes. It's like we've all seen so many like terrible movies and TV shows and stuff where it's like, you get like a sales guy, like he's just out for his own gain, or he's trying to pull one over on you, or just kind of this like antagonistic relationship with a sales rep. And unfortunately too, there are a lot of industries that are commission driven, and people have had a bad experience. They went in to try to get something they got, and they felt like they got worked. They ended up with this, they got that performance service plan and the extra service package and all this other stuff, and they're like, geez, I really got taken advantage of. And so unfortunately, it's kind of one of those things that you have one or two bad experiences, or you have a friend who had one or two bad experiences, and suddenly just kind of sours you on the idea. But one of the things that we're big proponents of, there's a great book by Dan Pink called "To Sell Is Human," and we're big Dan Pink fans in general. He's done some amazing work. But I mean, his whole thesis of the book is like, look, everybody sells.
Everybody sells.
Why we need Mexican tonight and not Italian? You sell your kids on why they need to put their shoes on so we can get out the freaking door in the morning. It's like just moving people to action is sales. And
100%.
Really, it's just once you get that mind shift, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. I really am, helping move people to action. That's all it is. It's just, like you said, transferring enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And that sales process, like you said, everyone does it. You're just not recognizing that you're actually doing it. And I still say this. I run a sales program, and when I do, I say, look, there's two reasons why typically people don't like sales. Number one, either they got sold something that they knew they shouldn't buy and they regret it afterwards, and they knew in the middle of it they shouldn't have bought it. Or two, they sold something to someone they knew they should not have sold to them. And so there's that regret, right? It's like, I don't want to be that guy again or be that girl again. And so you have that sense of guilt. So if you can overcome that and get to that place of, look, you said you were selling knives?
Yeah, Cutco knives, man.
Door to door?
Knives you'll have your own, by the way, if you need some.
Awesome. Door to door, or was this like
appointment based? It wasn't strictly door to door, so it was always like, hi Dino, you don't know me, but I was over to see your sister Tracy, and she suggested I call you.
Right.
So but it was in-home presentations. So
yes.
Over kitchen tables, belly to belly. It doesn't get more, pure sales than that.
100%, dude. Then I know you know what you're doing. Because listen, I don't think there's any tougher job than have to do the door-to-door or in-home sales. I did for a couple of years. I did Apex Alarm Home Systems, right? So I had to go door-to-door and do that. I mean, that's so raw and fresh. It's the worst, but it's a great training ground. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you guys this. You are really focused on doing a whole practice consulting program, right? Like you want to go in and see where are the holes that we can fix, right? So what does that approach look like for anybody listening? What should they expect when you guys get involved with them? How's this process going to go?
Well, and as we mentioned at the beginning, our big focus is on ortho. She's worked a little bit with some pedo practices, but really ortho is kind of her wheelhouse. And
sure.
We tend to focus on that. And so when it comes to ortho practice, though, really the big thing we work on is the new patient experience. I mean, starting at the beginning and just what does that first phone call sound like? Who's answering the phone? How are they answering the phone? And just really looking at it from the first customer contact all the way up to the point where they decide to, sign on the line, which is dotted, and kind of evaluate that whole process. And so, the nice thing about Tracy is because she does have that 50 years of experience, is we can really come out with a very holistic approach because she's seen every facet of that journey that the customer makes, from when she was the person answering the phone all the way to the person, putting on bands. And so she's able to kind of evaluate that from kind of, soup to nuts, if you will.
And just to clarify, so it sounded like you said 50 years of experience.
No, 15.
It's 15. Everybody listening, I don't want you to be thinking, wow, she sounds very young for 50 years.
Talks. Well, and I think also what you were asking too is what the service themselves looks like. We offer, I keep it very simple and very similar to what you would experience in an ortho office. I offer everyone the same pricing, and it's either a limited package or a more comprehensive type service. So very frequently we'll do what I call the quick fix. It's where I parachute in for 2 days and we focus a lot on that new patient process that Scott was just mentioning. I TC with the girls and I get in there and I'm in the trenches with them. We coach the new patient onboarding process that we like to use. I get in the clinic and I help show them how easy a same-day start can be and how we can just work that in.
Love it.
We just get real efficient, right? And it's 2 days and that's it, and then I'm out. And then peace be with you. Good luck. And then more practices, especially this last year, more and more of them have been wanting a little bit more hands-on. So they've been wanting us to come in for what we call a straight package, which is 6 months. I'm your off-site consultant, and I come in twice and do those kinds of quick fixes twice during that time. But in between, I support off-site and I remote into their computer systems and I redesign all their templates and I meet with them and do some employee evaluations and redefine people's roles and responsibilities and make sure that those are set up right. Or I look through the finances and see, hey, is there anything weird going on or anything that I think we should pay more attention to or make some changes in our financial policies for.
So you really become a resource to them as they are, trying to make this transition, and whether it be the new patient process or just even finding out how to have better flow inside their practice. And I love that. I love that you focus first on that new patient experience. And you said, as soon as like that I call them the director of first impressions, right? What's the receptionist doing? What are they saying?
Yeah.
Right. Because it really is. I actually think people overlook how much they need to focus on that person, because that first experience is so vital, whether it's a person on the phone who knows how to actually talk on the phone and not sound like they're bored and doing, doodles on their phone. Or it's the person that when they first see them, when they walk in, or it's both in some offices, obviously. I love that you do that. Where would you say that you find is the biggest bottleneck when you go into these offices nowadays, who, let's just face it, there's a evolution that's happening in these practices. These doctors are scrambling to try to not be compared to or be consumed by the corporations or the DSOs and stuff like that. Where do you see as the biggest bottleneck that they can actually make a difference in their practice quickly?
It's that new patient onboarding process. It's the prep work. People don't put the time into the prep work. And I sell this whole case before they ever walk in the door. And when they come in, that's when we just close it up. We're like, see what all I promised you? See, it's real. Look at this. I told you it'd be amazing. Here it
Love
is.
it.
And let's sign. So it's that prep work before, and nobody takes the time to really work it. They just get demographics on a new patient call. They'll do a confirmation, maybe TC call, and then that's it. Like, that's all they do.
Yep.
Transactional.
It's very transactional.
Very transactional. So therefore it becomes a commodity.
Right.
And that means, okay, who's going to give me the cheapest price? What I love what you just said is that you are creating, nobody walks up to the gates at Disney and goes, so convince me that I'm going to give you $150.
Right.
They're already sold before they got there, because not only the whole experience of getting ready to go and all the commercials and stuff like that, but it's an experience. Nobody goes to Apple and is like, I'm debating, should I keep my Samsung or my Apple? Like, they're in there because they're getting it. Yeah. And if we can create that same experience for the patients as they walk in, you're winning the game.
Exactly.
Right. Well,
so,
I mean, you go back, sales, it's like, Alec Baldwin back in Glengarry. It's like, no one steps on the lot he doesn't want to buy. It's like,
that's right.
They're calling you. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like most orthodontic offices are not doing outbound calls. It's like they're calling you because they want to learn about your services. And so if you can just stick the landing, it's like, you're fine. Right.
So look, and they're not only they're calling you, they're getting on Facebook. I always laugh when people are like, well, they just want pricing. No, they don't. They've already gone to Facebook and they've asked in their Facebook groups and their little things. Hey, little Johnny's got to get braces. How much did you spend? They know it's a range, at least between $4,000 to $7,000. Let's give it that.
Yeah.
No one's shocked at the price. No one says, oh. They might say it's expensive. They might say, wow, I need a budget for that, whatever. But no one's shocked at the price. So as you said, your only job, I believe the only job, because I believe, like when I go to Circuit City and I go to Best Buy because I can't go to Circuit City anymore. I go to Best Buy. That's right. Sorry, let's keep that branded there. Please, Best Buy, if you're listening, send me stuff. But if I go to Best Buy and I go in to get a television, the salesperson's job is to convince me on getting that television or better, right? Getting better. When somebody walks into an orthodontic office, they already want braces.
Yes.
One form or another, I always want it. So the only thing your job is to not screw up the sale.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
now,
it.
they do want to save on it. Don't get me wrong. That's why they're going to multiple opinions. So the average new patient's going on 2.5 consultations, but but like you said, they have done pre-search. They know already a good idea of what you're going to charge them. It may not, they may not know exactly, but in some offices, we'll tell them before they even walk in what they're gonna be.
That's
charging.
right. Yep.
But they love saving on it. So if you've got this promotion and stuff, that's what they're looking for. Is okay. is the quality at this location the same quality at this location? And am I going to save an extra $500 over here at this location? And then it turns into, okay, well, what was my experience like? What if I'm going to spend 30 minutes every 6 weeks or every 8 weeks at this?
Right. The value
look like, so that's how they're buying it,
Yeah, there's a great book called The Challenger Sale, and in that it talks about being able to teach, train, and take control, right? And part of that take control is to show them the value that they're receiving. So maybe it's $500 cheaper somewhere else, but here, the value, whether it be the visit and how you're going to feel when you're here, or all the other cool things that we're able to do for you, the way that you feel even, all that is the value add. And so we need to focus on that value. One of the things that I love to do is if someone is shopping, I think it's interesting that we haven't trained our front desk, our director of first impressions, to ask that question. So are we your first or your last visit? Oh, I've seen 2 other doctors before. Oh, what was it about those other visits that didn't actually work for you that we can make sure we have for you when you get here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that when I make a reservation someplace, or if I'm disappointed in something, I love it when people want to find out, how can we make your Dino experience better?
Yep.
Because it means it's so powerful.
I ask that question. I say, so, hey, is there anything that we could do to make Joey's experience better? Like to make sure that he loves what we're doing,
right,
or what we're doing at this appointment?
We want to be your yes.
Yes.
How do we make that happen? I love it. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got that first patient experience. Where does the doctor come into play? Listen, you got to deal with a lot of docs that you're just going, okay, man, buddy, I know you want to relegate all the responsibilities. I know you just want to be like, just get it done. Don't tell me. But how do you help that doc or that practice owner actually get the most involvement and make the biggest changes? What is it that what's your secret sauce in that?
Ooh, like how to get his buy-in?
Yeah. Yep. How to get him enrolled in the process.
It's a great question. I think for me, it's that my niche is sales. And I think that everybody wants to invest in the sales department of their practice because it's sales and marketing, it's, helping them get them in the door and then convert them once they're there. The more I do that, the more money I have to put into all the other areas, more team members that I can quote unquote buy and bring onto the team, the more areas that we can develop, the more cool tech we can buy, and the cool, geek out on the new advances that are coming out. And, but it all starts with, how many bodies am I bringing in and how many am I converting them? So
I was just talking to a marketing guy earlier today who was talking about, our job is to get as many people in the door as possible, right? Marketing. And I said, that is awesome. The challenge is that if you get 1,000 more people in your office every single week and you have a terrible sales process, that's going to be a problem. That's not going to be, and he went, you know what? That's true. I had a company call me and say, hey, we're getting 70 leads a month, which is awesome off your service, but our front desk can't handle it.
Oh, great.
It's like, and so they were stopping the service. And I was like, this is the epitome of bad entrepreneurism.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to patch up the net. Doesn't matter how many fish are swimming into it if they're all swimming out the back end.
That's right. That's right. So Scott, you have had experience in being in that entrepreneurial world, which, as we all know, I'm going to say 99.9%. Every once in a while, I find a unicorn who's like, no, I went to business school too. But most of these guys did not get any business, guys and gals, did not get any business training whatsoever. So how do you overcome that, Scott, with getting them into that entrepreneurial mindset? Because your job is to help them really see the bigger picture, right? And they're off as a business. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So really when it comes to helping them kind of get that mindset is one of the things we really like to instill is the idea of your highest best use. What is the one thing or group of things that you as the doctor can do that no one else can do? When are you making the most money? And it's when you're documenting, diagnosing treatment, and or actually have hands and mouth. Anything other than that is not your highest best use. And so a lot of times just getting docs to make that shift and helping them understand that it's like, look, if someone else can do it even half as good as you, delegate it. Ask someone else. I mean, Ben Fishbein talked about that actually, I think at the NKS, but just that, find the people that you trust enough to train to do those things that you're doing and get that off your plate so that you can focus on the bigger ticket items, really.
Yeah, it's so important, right? Getting that off your plate and hiring a professional to do a professional job.
Yeah.
Like, I always laugh when so how are your books? Well, my mother-in-law, she's really good with numbers, so she's like, I'm sorry, I thought we were running a profession. Right, exactly. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, it drives me nuts. It's really, really funny. All right, so what I'd like to know is, when it comes to every business has a challenge, and let's even go with your own business right now, right? You're a growth business. You've been doing, how long you been in business? 5 years?
5 years.
5 years. So as a growth business, right, I always say it doesn't matter what the business is. You could be Apple, you could be, Dino selling apples. You're going to have problems in your business. What are some of the biggest challenges that you guys are facing right now in your business that you now can use that as even a connection piece to your other doctors to let them understand, hey, we get it. We're in business too. So what are some of your biggest challenges?
It's exactly what you guys just talked about. It's my highest best use.
Oh, yeah.
I want there to be 4 of me. We have 4 team members, and I want there to be 4 me's.
Of you specifically, right?
Your
personality, right.
I want everybody to do it the way I'm going to do it.
If you have an inside track on clothing technology, she would totally be your biggest customer.
I would totally do it too.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard because you know that nobody's ever going to work as hard for your business as you will. Yep. Nobody's going to stay up all night thinking about the business and what areas, we could tighten up, or what needs to happen tomorrow, or does this person have enough training to really do it as well as you would deliver that, that kind of thing. And so, and micromanaging everyone. So.
No, it's true, right? And that's where I think the relatability comes in, though, you guys, is to be able to talk to a doctor and say, I get it. I get that you believe that if you just did it yourself, it's going to get done faster, even though that's not your thing. Mm-hmm. I get it that you thinking that having to take that week to train someone is such a waste of time, even though you know that if you did it once, you don't have to do it again. Yeah. But I'm there too.
Yep. Exactly.
Preach.
And then on the flip side, when I go into these practices, I get to have that conversation at dinner with the doctor. And then I go in during the day and I'm like, hey, Jennifer, look, I know this sounds dumb, or I know this doesn't feel good, but we need to do it. Let's do it. Like, I'll do it with you. Let's do it together, And so it's a nice.
Let me ask you a question specifically to the TC world of when you're doing a presentation. And I don't know the answer to this. I'm going to assume I'm correct on this, but I always find it fascinating when I sit in on an exam and I can tell when the person when the TC has gone into presentation mode as opposed to sales mode, right? You've heard the yes, the person has told you exactly what they want. You've explained that, but then it's like, but part of my exam is I have to also tell you what this tape measure is for. And if you do that, and it's like, they're going to pick up the clear braces, even though that's not what they're talking about, right? So how do you deal with that when you are sitting across an exam and you hear, oh, you're going into presentation mode? Do you stop them right there? Do you talk about it afterwards?
I jump in and start doing it instead.
Oh.
So I just don't, because at the end of the day, I'm invested in this practice too.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't want that sale to walk out the door. And so if I think that I can jump in and save it, then I'll jump in and save it. And then we'll coach out, hey, this is why I did this. Do you see how Deanna started putting her hands, together and started crossing her arms? Did you see that moment when you said this? But remember, at the beginning, she had already told you this. And here you were talking about this, and so we kind of piece back through it. But I have to jump in. I can't not work out.
That's so valuable, right? And for them to understand that you're there, like what your only goal is to make them better.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm a coach. We're coaches.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, you guys, I could talk to you guys forever, as you know. You guys are amazing. I love what you do. I'd love to, we need to come out to a Propreneur event sometime or something like that. But I would just love to have conversation. If I lived in Texas, we'd go out to dinner. But
You're welcome. You're welcome.
As I'm flying by, I'll just stop by. But we're at the part of our show where I like to ask some rapid fire questions, and you just give me your quickest answer as possible. Does that sound like fun?
Do
It
it.
does.
Bring it. Lightning round.
All right, lightning round. That's right. So what do you see is the most expensive thing that practice owners are missing in their practice?
New patient experience.
Yeah, an insurance call.
Oh, that's another one too.
Nobody does insurance calls.
Right.
They outbound call the new patient and say, hey, I just got off the phone with Delta Dental. You have beautiful benefits. Let me tell you about them. Awesome. And prepare them before they walk in the door and cause them to have any financial conversations ahead of time.
So good. And they can find the time to do it. I'm telling you, they won't find time. They should dedicate the time to do it. Forget find. Dedicate the time to do it. So true. All right. What's a book that every private practice owner should read? You mentioned one earlier. Is there another one?
I like Millennials with Kids from Jeff Baum and Melissa Bildick. Jeff Fromm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Millennials with Kids, that's a big one she's been reading. I'm a huge Peter Shankman fan. Zombie Loyalist is a big one. It's all about like creating the environment to infect people for your brand and get them out there making more zombies that are also infected for your brand. It's a good one.
Love that. That's good. I love the fact that I wish we had more time to really dive into the millennial side of stuff, because your presentation on helping people understand millennials, how millennial moms buy, is really, really powerful stuff that not a lot of people know. I have a great friend. His name's Clint Pulver. He has a thing that he does, a millennial undercover, kind of like undercover boss.
That's
And
awesome.
he's a young millennial dude. He's hipster. He's a drummer. He's a really professional drummer. And he goes into corporations as if he's going to be a new employee. And he goes and he interviews with hidden camera the millennials of why are they staying there, what do they like, what do they not like. And so he just wrote a book about it. It comes out, I think, next month. And a good friend of mine. And when you were up there talking, I was like, oh, these two got to get together, because
Awesome. I love
it's just so good stuff.
Copy, Dino.
Yeah, we will. I will make sure we get you one. He's awesome. He's a great guy. Okay, so speaking of books, and my book, The Practice RX, I focus a lot on team culture and team performance as the foundation to practice growth. When you walk into these offices, and you get to see a lot of them, what do you feel is the biggest challenge that private practice owners are facing when it comes to their teams and their office culture?
It's shifting from customer service. I think everybody's got that down, but it's shifting to hospitality and realizing that our businesses are now, our services and these service businesses are in hospitality. We just happen to be doing orthodontics, or we just happen to be doing dentistry. It's about the experience. It's about the feels for the patient. It's about time and convenience. And we just happen to be doing a technical job on top of it.
I love it, right? It's the commodity. We have to decommoditize our business and realize it's about the experience that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right, I'm going to make you answer this one. How can listeners reach you? That's actually an easy one that you can answer.
Through our website, just straightconsulting.com. Real easy.
Straightconsulting.com. Yep. And they can go up there and learn all about you, and then take you. Are you also social media stuff?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual socials.
Twitter.
So.
Whatever.
Nice. All right.
Not TikTok yet, but we're exploring.
Do you still have your what's the old one that we used to laugh about? What's
Vine.
What?
Vine?
No. What's the one that? What?
Are you thinking of MySpace?
MySpace. That's what it is. MySpace. Yeah. I think I still have mine. I think it's coming back.
He still has his AOL account from college.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Middle school. That AOL address is old enough to vote and drink at this point. So.
Wow, you've got mail, buddy. All right. So, Scott, I'm going to ask you this then. What's the best advice that you've ever received in life or in business?
Ooh. Best advice I've ever received is definitely that everything good in life happens outside your comfort zone. And if you want something more, if you want to be something more, you want to have something more, you got to get uncomfortable, and you really have to become comfortable getting uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So true, right? Everything in life.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Whether it's wooing a spouse, whether it's building a business, whether it's raising great kids, whether it's, running your next marathon, whatever it is. It's all about
my next marathon? You mean my first marathon?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So last question for you both. What's the best resource or tool that every business owner should be using to grow their practice right now?
Well, I mean, from a very practical standpoint, Facebook ads and Instagram
Aggressive
ads,
online,
aggressive targeted ads. I mean, you have more access to demographic information and can target more specifically. I mean, forget a shotgun; it's a sniper rifle. And if you can spend the time, or find someone who can spend the time, or as a consultant or something, that's definitely the easy one. And then beyond that, I think working with a consultant, just having a fresh set of eyes.
A fresh set, yeah. Yeah.
So valuable.
Written everything, as far as the consultant world goes. So I think, trying on some different outfits, getting some new sets of eyes, like you said, getting a new perspective on things is a good way to just refresh your processes.
Yes.
You're with millennials, so you might as well do it now, because you're about to see a lot more millennial parents coming through the door.
100%. It's funny, when you were up there doing your presentation, you were talking about like what people say about millennials, like, oh, they're lazy or they're non-committal or whatever. I thought you were going to, and I'm going to throw this to you, and if you want to use it, you can use it, maybe not. But I thought you were going to then turn the last thing you're going to do was going to say that's a quote from somebody like in the 60s talking about 60s kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Because all of us have that, right? Every generation has the same thing. We just, for whatever reason, are like, oh, millennials, they're like this big, scary, hairy thing, as opposed to, we all went through it. Like you guys were freaking hippies.
Totally.
Like, you were walking around without bras on. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like our parents looked at you like our grandparents. Everybody does it. So yeah, I was like, oh, she's gonna do this, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell her she needs to throw that on there. Yeah.
I missed it. Yeah. Dang it! I did not stick the landing.
Yeah. Oh, you stuck the landing. I'm just adding a little flavor to the flavor. Yeah, it was good. It was really great. Well, you guys, you're obviously a joy to have on the show, and so appreciate your time and your willingness to share with everybody. Please, on the show notes, everyone, you will have the link to their website and their contact information, so that we can, also those books that we mentioned, so you can go and grab those. I hope everybody listening really took to heart a lot of the tips and ideas that were given here today, because our goal obviously is to help you have the best experience possible as you're driving to work or driving home from work while you're listening to this podcast. So thank you again, both of you, for being here.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. Thanks for having us,
For those of you listening, thank you again. Please remember to subscribe and share this with your friends and family members. Remember that our goal here on the Propreneur Podcast is to help you be more proactive, more productive, and more profitable in all areas of your life and business. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much again for listening to the Propreneur Podcast. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do so. Also, if you feel like you might be a good fit for our podcast as a guest, or know somebody who you think would be, go ahead and email us at dino@dinowatt.com. Again, thanks for support. We'll see you on the next episode.